Hey, good afternoon, Capricorns. My name is Anne, and this is This Old Goat Tarot. It is approximately, 3:50 in the afternoon this Friday, April 25th, 2025. And this is your weekly money and career or finance and career reading for the upcoming week. I don't know if you have felt it, but the energies seem to be really shifting. And we are in Taurus season, so I'll be doing another reading about Taurus, about the overall energy that we can expect as we move into May. But additionally, we have the new moon on Sunday, so I'm very excited. It's going to be a great weekend to recommit ourselves from a grounding perspective, to spirituality, to ourselves, to just getting outside and enjoying what Gaia has to offer us. So if you haven't already taken that opportunity to connect with the season, we are smack dab in the middle of spring and the days are numbered. So take advantage if you haven't already. But for today's reading, we will be looking at your recent past, current energy, and potential future outcomes or advice from Spirit. As we look at the week ahead, I will be pulling an oracle card for you, and I will also get some clarifiers. We should be here about a half hour to 45 minutes, so welcome. If you're new to my channel, this is a Capricorn only channel for all placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. If you're welcome cross watchers, if you're listening for someone else. And the only reason behind that is right now, I myself am a Capricorn Sun, a Scorpio rising, and my moon is on Sag. So, maybe in the future I'll be opening up to more broadly, but for right now, that's what I feel called to do. And the Capricorn community is so strong here on YouTube. If you like what you're hearing, and if anything does resonate, I would love to welcome you back to my channel. So hit that like and subscribe button. And if you are back, thank you so much for being here. I do mean it. Just when I do have repeat folks coming back, it just, I can feel the energy. It sort of builds and it helps me tune in a little bit closer. So more to come. And of course, if anything doesn't quite make sense, perhaps this reading is not for you. But I carry all of my energy of sending love and light to you as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to my table. As you can see, we have all of our decks here represented, and we also have all of our element signs. So we have water, we have fire, we have good dose, healthy dose of earth because we are an earth sign, isolating them just to protect, as well as our air sign. But before we get going, I do want to sort of clear the energy and welcome in spirit. So spirit, angels, and guides of our highest and best, what messages do you have today for the Capricorn community, for the Capricorn collective? Only the clearest messages that are the highest and best for all involved. And let's go ahead and get started. I will be ringing a loud bell to welcome in spirit now. All right. And today is, if you break down the numbers, it reduces to the number 7 from a numerological perspective. So I have shoveled and meditated on each of these decks 7 times. Check in. Take a minute. I'll go ahead and read the message. When you think about whatever it is that you're pondering, take a moment to check in with how you feel about it. Do you feel lighter or heavier? Excited or feeling with dread? Pay attention to your inner guidance. It's always so helpful. So let's take a minute here. And as I go through these cards, of course, there's sort of the traditional archetypes for the tarot. They are loosely related to astrology as well. But I really encourage you to take a look at not just the number of the card or the quote unquote suit of the card, but rather also all the imagery. So this is a Mind Info Oracle card. I think it's appropriate when we think about career and finance because there's some sort of strategic element. And then when I say strategic, I think that when we think about career, there's an element of intentionality, right, behind what it is that we do and what we choose to do. And unfortunately, it's not always that we fall into our careers because it's the one thing that we just like wake up like wanting to do, like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread that we imagined ourselves doing for the rest of our lives. The reality is that's probably not the reality for most of us. And right now, the energy is so strong hitting our planet. And about, we are, just off of the Aries season as well. We have Neptune in Aries as well. So with this energy, I think that it's important that we think about what it is that what we're called to do and why we're here to do it. Even if it wasn't what it was that we intended to go to school for, perhaps, or what we had wanted to do when we first set out, that identity that we may have had to take on for whatever reason, perhaps corporate America has got the best of us, or perhaps we became a stay-at-home parent or caregiver. That dimension of ourselves we took on, but may not have been necessarily what we consider ourselves today, and our soul's purpose. And that Aries, that Neptune and Aries energy really is asking us to think about ourselves in a more expansive nature, to take a moment with intentionality and to think and check in, is what I'm doing right now, it may have served a purpose in our life, right? We may have needed healthcare to have our little babies. We needed, to pay off our student loans, or, between you and a partner, one had to stay home to watch the kids, or perhaps you're a single parent, or someone as a primary caregiver to someone else. And sometimes it's easy to hold on to these identities past what I'll call their expiration date, where those needs have been long gone, if you will, and now it's just sort of we become complacent in our sort of our comfort zone, or we're just sort of feel almost trapped because we don't set the time aside to do that intentional work of checking in on ourselves. This is me, the mother, this is me, the doctor, the I don't know, the teacher, whatever it is, you fill in the blank. Check in with yourself. Does that still suit you? Do you still see the value in it is who you are? And maybe it's time to reevaluate that. So I find this really interesting, given that this is coming in on a career reading. Career and finance reading. So let's keep that in mind in the background here as we continue. All right. So, Spirit, let's get some messages here for the Capricorn collective. Those who might be sort of taking a moment here to reflect on what it is that they do. Is it still holding a sense of value? Is it still holding a purpose? Is it what our Capricorns want to do in terms of who they identify with? Let's answer these questions together. We've got the Page of Pentacles in reverse in recent past. You pull the Ace of Cups in the here and now. And we're pulling the Temperance, Major Arcana 14 in advice from spirit in or potential outcomes. And the bottom of the deck we have Seven of Cups. Very interesting that we pulled that this is the bottom of the deck. Different readers consider the bottom of the deck for different reasons, and for me, I kind of feel as if it's an overall theme for the reading to sort of echo a little bit around the message of the oracle that I chose earlier. That's how I choose to interpret the bottom of the deck. Now, Seven of Cups, you'll notice, first of all, Cups in the tarot is about our emotional well-being. It is our ability, how are we bringing our heart and the things that matter to us and that fulfill us from that perspective? How are we bringing that to the day-to-day? And you'll notice that the Seven of Cups in this particular rendering, he's kind of like looking at these cups and there's water coming through, and it's like there could be something different in each of these paths. And he's sort of contemplating them all, right? Again, I find this a little bit of synchronistic value in the sense that today is a number 7. Sevens are about spirituality. It is about having an opportunity to bring spiritual inquiry to the here and now. Sevens are deeply intellectual. Sevens are reminding us to be inquisitive. It's okay to be a skeptic. It's okay to think and ponder, if you will, the value of something. That's the more of the light side of the number 7. The shadow side is perhaps a little bit of suspicion, if you will, distrust. And so I think it's important that we incorporate both sides, the light and the shadow, into this reading. I like how it's talking about the check-in, and this guy, he's sort of contemplating over these different options. In the traditional tarot, it's like a bunch of cups with like different things coming out of it. It's kind of like choose your own adventure, if you will. And I think that this is a powerful message. It's almost a confirmation of this check-in. It's kind of like, this is where I've been. Do I still want to continue this path? Is this really what lights me up? Is this me living my highest and best? Or is it time to consider something else? And there's a lot of different paths that we could go down, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean a drastic move of, okay, tomorrow I'm going to quit my job. That's just frankly just not feasible, not the reality for a lot of us. But I do think that there is value in the sense of starting to ask those questions, because once you let a little bit of that inquiry, that spiritual inquiry inside of the here and now, what that allows us to do is to start to be more conscious of our actions and live a more intentional life. And that translates to more than just our career. It translates to our relationships with others. It translates to our relationship with spirit, etc. It just sort of starts to permeate in different directions, and I do think that that's important when we're thinking about this. This is a water sign. Cups is water energy. Water doesn't, like, when it flows, it doesn't have any endings or beginnings. It just continues to flow, and we're being asked to step into that energy of sort of allowing ourselves to not necessarily have everything planned out, but to go into a flow of seeking and exploring what else is out there for me. So let's continue. So we have here some interesting cards. Right now in the recent past, we have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. This is a beautiful card, especially for Capricorn. We are earth sign. Pentacles in the tarot is considered to represent the earth sign as well. It's about the material world, our possessions, could be money, okay? And this is a little bit in reverse. So there's perhaps something that you're going through, if this resonates, may or may not be for everyone. However, there may have been something around looking at, and by the way, pages in the tarot represent children, and so there might be something that, you know, we had our hopes and wishes towards, and this doesn't necessarily even have to be in the last week. But when it comes to examining and really thinking about what it is that we're doing for a living, is what we're doing still, we may have had an approach that this was going to be it for us. This was going to be fulfilling. This was going to be enough, and it's in reverse. It doesn't feel like it's enough anymore. Whatever what was exciting that, you know, he could stand on one leg from and be completely balanced, it's no longer balanced. So maybe in your career, you're starting to find that you want more, okay, and you're capable of more. And the Capricorn, you're capable of so much. Let's get some additional answers here. Spirit, why is the Page of Pentacles here in reverse? Ooh, we got a flipper here. Anything else? Any additional messages? Okay. All right, so bottom of the deck, we have the King of Swords. So King of Swords energy, we have the Five of Cups that flew out sideways. Then we had the Ten of Pentacles that also flew out sideways, and then we landed with the King of Swords in the upright position. Let's think about this for a little bit. So first off, the bottom of the deck was that Ten of Swords. So there's some sort of overall theme here around this, I'll call it disappointment, okay? And I'm not thinking like it's a oh, I got fired, or oh, you know, something bad happened. Rather, I think it was just sort of disappointment in the sense of something that we thought was going to be fulfilling, that was going to give us this grounding energy, that was going to be okay, that was going to keep us, you know, connected. It's out of balance, and it just no longer is giving us that sense of fulfillment, that sense of passion, that sense of purpose. It may have had done that at one point in time, but I find that it's no longer true. That those eyes of the child of just being of awake and approaching everything with that sense of wonder, we're sort of jaded. So something got us to a point where we feel jaded. And this Five of Cups sort of echoes that energy as well. It's sideways. So in the upright position, it's kind of like, well, you know, these cups are empty. He's disappointed, but he can't really see that there's this other opportunity behind him. He's just sort of still dwelling in this, I don't want to say victim energy, but a little bit of this, like, very much disappointment. He's so caught up in that disappointment, in that shroud of disappointment. He's got that long, cape about him that he can't see. He's unable to turn around. And those cups are spilled. But there's two cups behind him that are still open. And so it's also not in the reverse either, meaning like a close call, something that we thought was going to go wrong, but it actually ended up working out okay. We're in this in-between energy, and I think what it really is that we've done some of the emotional processing around this disappointment, and we want to turn around, but we just don't necessarily know how. Okay. So there's that. So it's kind of like we've arrived at the point where we've acknowledged that this is no longer serving our purpose. And we've kind of processed the disappointment aspect of it. There's this Ten of Pentacles sideways, which definitely means to me, if in the upright position, this is like legacy building. This is like, this is like the whole house. This is the kids. This is the car, 2-car garage. This is like all the animals, right? Your grandkids are going to be okay. That's not the case here. There's something that we've also acknowledged, that this is not, whatever it is that we're doing, if we had any sort of hope or idea that this was going to in some way be serving a purpose from a monetary perspective, I think that we're coming to a realization that that it's not. It's also not going to help us from from that legacy. It's not going to help our our family in a broader sense. So like any sort of, I'll call it, and this isn't something at all I recommend, but sort of martyrdom of like, hey, I'm gonna just like bear and grin it because I know this is good for my family. I think we've also arrived. Now, first of all, I don't recommend that we do anything of that nature because we're not putting ourselves first. But I think that at the same time, we have gone down a thought process where we've identified that it's not even if that was on the table as an option that that for whatever reason we would want to explore, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. And we've also done that. There should be no martyrdom here in our reality. I know that oftentimes it's easy to fall into that trap of like putting ourselves last to uphold everyone else, but you can't pour from an empty cup. And that's ultimately, I think, the feeling I'm getting here is like, hey, even if it could help everyone else, I'm getting the sense that it wouldn't. I'm getting the sense that maybe we had some sort of illusion that it would be very financially beneficial to us in the long run. We're starting it's starting to be revealed to us that it's not. But even if it was, I think we're also coming to the acknowledgement here that it's no longer in our best interest because it's just not worth it because we're putting ourselves last. And that's never a good thing. And this clarity is coming through very clear to me by this King of Swords. This is air energy, okay? Swords is about mental clarity or mental confusion. This is the king. He's sitting on his throne. He's very much in his power, and I think that that's what the reality is that we've had a almost like an awakening here. We've had a new perspective on something, and it's almost like you can't unsee what we've seen. We realize that this is not going to sustain us in the long run. We want to turn around, but we're still in this in-between energy. We're ready to move forward, I think. We just don't know how. But we've also recognized that it's not worth it to stick around. There's nothing worth sticking around for, either for myself or from a monetary perspective. And we're getting all of this king energy of this clarity of thought. Okay? And again, if you've been having some of these thoughts about like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I working so hard? Why is life got to be so hard? I think that those are really fair questions to ask yourself. But something's not done. So I think that this clarity is bringing about the fact that we're recognizing that what we're doing is no longer in balance. It's no longer serving our purpose, but we still don't know how to move forward. Okay? And maybe it's that time of checking in and really considering our options to determine, okay, we're checking in, we've understood that something's out of balance. Where we are is not necessarily okay in the long run, but like, where do we go from here? Okay, and that's, I think, is still on the table, and that's where we are right now. So there's this Ace of Cups, this beautiful energy in front of us, this gift from Spirit that's just shining and coming through. Let's get some additional answers here. So why do we have the Ace of Cups here? What messages it needs to be said around this Ace of Cups energy when it comes to the here and now? What messages do we have to come to our Capricorn collective? Anything else? Okay. There's a lot of messages there. All right, so the moon is at the bottom of the deck, so something is yet to be revealed. Okay, so we'll put that down here. The Five of Pentacles flew out first, which is sideways. Again, very much similar energy to this Five of Cups energy, where it's kind of like, there was disappointment, we've already processed the disappointment, but we don't know how to turn around. We don't know how to move forward. And that's the same thing here. It's like, you know, we've already gone through this. We've already processed that we don't have to stay in the sense of lack. That we should not, because it's not, like if it was upright, it would be different. I would say that we're stuck and we're fearful about moving forward, about taking any sort of action because we're afraid that we won't have enough. That sacral chakra energy around the need to just survive, about lack. That's the fear I'm sorry, from our root chakra rather. That energy, the challenge, if you will, what challenges our root chakra is the need to survive, and it's easy to fall into lack energy. And this is what lack energy is this being out in the cold where we don't have enough. Okay, I think we've done that. It's sideways. Okay, we're not fearful of lack, but we don't necessarily, again, know how to resolve it. We're not afraid of it, but we don't know how to fix it. We don't have the solution yet. And that's the same thing here, where it's like, we see on the other side in recent past, where it's like, in that upright position, we have this disappointment. We process the disappointment, but we're not necessarily, we don't know how to turn around yet. And this is the same thing. We don't know how to resolve if we're going to take action. How do we do that? We're just not there yet. That's what I'm sensing. So when these cards were coming out, I did see the Queen of Swords, and she did flip out when it flipped on me. When I saw it the first, it was in the upright position. So again, another confirmation of this perfect balance between the masculine and the feminine here, which is more realization, more mental clarity about things that we need to cut out of our life. Of things that no longer serve us. So I'm just going to put this here because it did flip out second in this reading. And let's see these other cards. So we have Judgment sideways. And we also have the Nine of Cups in reverse. Okay. The Moon is at the bottom. So there's something yet that still has to be revealed. The story isn't over. But when it comes to this Ace of Cups, okay, to me, that tells me that there's something that wants to come through in our favor, especially because we have this Judgment and sideways position. Something that led to this disappointment that kind of made us feel a little bit jaded in the past. Whatever that was, I think that something wants to come through in our favor. It's just not been completely solved for yet because we're not there yet. We haven't figured out the path forward in terms of the next action that we want to take. Okay. But the Queen of Swords is here with us. That energy is still allowing us to begin to sever. And I think that's what we're sort of doing, is taking this moment of checking in and making these decisions about, like, hey, this is no longer, there's no longer room in my life for this cup, or this particular pursuit, or this particular worry, or this belief. And I think, like, it's almost surgical, I'm sensing, that we are going through the process, because this Ace of Cups is here. It's in the background, but it's so clouded by all of these other beliefs that it can't shine through yet. And that's why the Nine of Cups is in reverse. We don't have that sense of fulfillment yet, because right now the light is hidden. And that's another confirmation here, is the Moon, it needs to be revealed. To me, it's like, yeah, Judgment wants to come through. Something wants to be revealed to us. This Nine of Cups, it's in reverse because it's almost still overshadowed. We still don't know how to move on past the disappointment. We've said, okay, what am I feeling? I'm disappointed. What do I do from here? Okay, and we've done the logical process around, hey, this doesn't make sense for me, and it doesn't make sense for us financially. We've done the processing here that I'm not going to make a move because I'm fearful. I'm not going to stay because I'm fearful. But we still haven't made a decision on what's next yet. And in this Ace of Cups, this beautiful energy here just wants to, like, burst through. And I think that that's where we're almost at. That this Moon of what is hidden from us, something has to come through. The light needs to, it will always pierce through that darkness. And we're going to do that by really leaning into this Queen of Swords and this King of Swords energy. This is, to me, this is some sort of mental clarity, that we had this epiphany, and this to me is beginning to look at things with a new lens. And we're like, okay, this no longer makes sense. This is something I've got to stop. Okay, but we have this Temperance, and by the way, there's something here with fives, because we have the Five of Cups sideways. We also have the Pentacles, and Temperance breaks down. It's Major Arcana 14. It breaks down. Temperance is really good balanced energy. You'll notice here in this interpretation, we have the Moon and the Sun balanced, and I love that for us. So, Spirit, what's the potential outcome here? What is your messages of advice when it comes to whatever it is that we need to make some sort of divine action? Okay, like, I think we've done the processing mentally, but we're just not there yet in terms of what it is, the action that we're being called to take. And I got something I flipped through it unintentionally. Okay, so why is the Temperance, Major Arcana 14 here, and future energy? Something wants to come into balance. Okay, so the fact that we are still struggling internally with what the divine action is, we've done some of the work. We've identified that it's no longer serving our purpose. We've identified that there's something better, that we have an inner knowing that there's something better out there for us. But it's like, well, what do we do about it now? Anything else? Okay. So this one had to come through at the very end. But we have the King of Cups in the bottom, which I love. We've got a lot of King energy here today, royal energy. This came through in the upright, this bottom of the deck. We got the King of Wands. We also have the King of Swords over here. Let's see what else we have. We have the Ten of Swords sideways. Again, this is saying that something's got to come to an end. Okay? And when it comes to an end, as painful as it is, when it's done, we've got the morning wants to come through, right? The darkness is over. The dawn is ready to break through. And that's, again, the same energy I was just talking about with this Ace of Cups. This shining light wants to come through. We need to put that final sword in whatever it is that's causing us all of this. I'll call this like indecision, and that's, again, what that energy is that we have here. Okay, so we've got this King of Wands sideways. In the upright position, he's very confident. He knows what he wants. He has passion. This tells me that we need to figure out what our passion is. What gets us up in the morning? Okay. We've got this Four of Cups sideways. A lot of sideways energy here today. It's kind of like he's sitting on the sidelines, and he's like, he can't be bothered. He's not interested, but yet Spirit has this beautiful cup of fulfillment, something that wants to come through, but he's like, he's just not interested. He's not there yet. And that's essentially the energy that I'm getting right now. Is like, we don't know what makes us happy at this point. Okay, we know that we're not happy. We know that. And we know what we're doing is no longer, maybe at one time it did give a little bit of fulfillment, but it wasn't enough. And we need to put that final stake in the ground, that final sword, to get to that new morning. And there's a decision that we need to make. Okay? Again, another moon energy. Something wants to come through. Something is yet to be revealed. There's a decision that we need to make. Okay? And what do we have here at the bottom? We have the Six of Pentacles, another beautiful energy, which talks about balance, which is like the Temperance here. Six of Pentacles, balance energy. You can see we have the scales. Something wants to come into balance between, I would say, from this lack energy versus someone who has enough. Okay, there's going to be a balance. And the King of Cups was at the bottom of the deck, and this was in the upright position. So this is, to me, this is the bottom of the deck. It tells me that the way that we're going to get to this temperance, to this balance, is by balancing our emotional well-being, okay? the King of Cups doesn't hold on to energy that is heavy, that is dense. He'll dump that cup right out so he can pour in new water, new emotion, new energy that serves him. He is not going to settle. Okay? He allows that water to freely flow through. He allows that emotional energy, almost like a wave. He acknowledges it's there, but it's not going to move him off that throne. Nobody's going to move him until he's ready. Okay? And that's ultimately what I think it comes down to, is whatever is happening here from an emotional perspective, this ask to check in with ourselves is so critical. How am I feeling? Okay, get that into balance, get our sense of grounding in. And then I think what's going to come through, what's yet to be revealed here to us, okay, is the fact that there's going to be a decision that's going to come up that we're going to need to make. And it's going to be, to me, it seems like it's going to come in really, I wouldn't say this is fast-moving energy, but it's not slow-moving either. It's just a matter of time before it's going to be very, very clear to us that there's a decision that we need to make and we need to move forward. And so by doing that, that's that final stake in the ground. That's going to be hard. It's going to require courage. It's going to require us to really go deep to make sure that we're doing that check-in, to make sure that whatever it is, the decision that we're going to make, is it going to fulfill me? Is it going to put me in my power in the sense of a purpose, of passion, something that is beyond just the material? Is it something also that emotionally fulfills me? Okay? And can I see it? So by us doing sort of that work, that inner work, I think that that's what Spirit's trying to tell us, is that this Temperance card, this balance, it's amplified here by, double confirmation by this balance of the Six of Pentacles. By us doing the work to get balanced emotionally, by doing the work to check in, it's gonna become very apparent to us, whether you have to rely on your spirit, reach out to your guides. Show me. It's not I need money or coming from a place and an energy of lack, but rather when you come at the position of show me the path forward, help me to see what my passion might look like, okay? Help me explore this other side of me that I may have neglected, okay? Those are sort of the opportunity that we are being called to do in order for us to get whatever it is of this beautiful Ace of Cups energy, that this light that just wants to burst forth, okay? Right now it's hidden. We have to do the work of pushing everything else aside and really asking ourselves, what is it? And not to focus on everybody else, not to go into martyr, don't become a martyr, okay? It's not about, yes, it's important to put food on the table. It's important to pay the bills. But it's also important that we're feeding our soul, okay? And what I mean by that is it doesn't have to be quitting our job necessarily. It could also be starting a little passion, taking a class, signing up for that master class, or perhaps it is, doing something we've never done before, just to gauge our interest, or to put us in a state in that we can start to think beyond the here and now and the worries and the density of 3D life, but we can start to think beyond of what do I have to contribute to the broader consciousness, right? And we each have something that we're really good at, something that we have to offer everyone else. We just don't know that, we might just not know that it exists yet, or know what it is that it lights us up. Because whatever that is that lights us up, it's going to be so bright that everybody else is going to be just drawn to that energy. Okay? And it's not only going to light us up, it's going to illuminate everyone else for their paths as well. This was definitely a broader, almost a heavier energy today to just a career and finance reading. but I'm definitely sensing that we are being called to take the time necessary to discover and to explore a new side of ourselves, because I think that dwelling in complacency, we're just going to repeat a cycle of heartache. And we're going to sit in this and just like, you know, I'll call it almost bypassing the real heart of the problem. We're going to be bound to replace it. So let's say we get another job that pays a little bit more a year, okay, because we need more cash, okay. Yeah, that might be great, but we're gonna be bound to plateau and put ourselves right back into the position that we are and repeat a cycle of heartache all over again, versus truly expanding. And that's what we're being called to do. So I think I'll leave it there. Thank you so much, Capricorns, for your time today. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and until next time, love and light.